Hello, and today we'll be talking about for loops in R. For loops enable users to quickly perform tasks the number of times that they specify. So a good way of trying to understand this is to think about for loops in the following way. For 100 people, Vinny gave each person a slice of pizza. So for 100 people, Vinny did a task. And so basically a for loop, you specify the amount of times that a task is to be completed. The general format of a for loop can be found in my text editor from lines 5 through 9. And it says for paren I in 1 colon x close paren bracket. Then I have a comment where it says x represents the final ending number. So x is where you put the number of times you want the task to be completed, whether it's 100 times, 13 times, or 1,000,000 times. And then in your brackets, you have what task you want to be completed by the loop. So the best way to understand what is going on in a for loop is just go do an example. So let's create a for loop that takes a 100 by 100 matrix and a vector and performs a two-tailed t-test between the vector and each column of the matrix. Collect all the t-values and save them in a vector. I will provide all the data and the code that I use for this video in the description down below, so you're more than welcome to look at that. And so I provide the code in my text editor from lines 14 to 25, and let's go through that real quick. I first load the data into R, and then I use the ls function to display the objects that I have in R. Then I create a vector called t-values where I will put all my t-values that I calculate from the for loop. And then the for loop. So the for loop goes for paren I, which is the index, in 1 colon 100 close paren bracket. So that starts the for loop. And so now that we've we understand what the setup of this code is, let's run it so we see what happens. So I'm going to copy and paste it into R. You see that the objects that were loaded from the data were matrix and vector. And so now we're going to define the t-values vector. And so just to make sure, I'm going to check and see which one is the matrix and which one is a vector, even though it's fairly obvious. So that was the matrix. It's very long, very big. And so now we're going to look at the vector. And that's the vector. Now let's go into the for loop. For the for loop, we have the following command. For paren I in 1 colon 100 paren bracket t-values square bracket I equals t.test paren matrix square bracket comma I comma vector comma $ statistic close bracket. So basically what happens is that command in our for loop says that we take the ith column of the matrix and the vector and perform a t-test. And it does this until you get to 100. So it starts at 1 and goes to 100. And for each t-test, it saves them in the t-values vector that we defined to the ith spot. And so it's important to remember that I is simply a placeholder and nothing more. The for loop simply replaces the I with the numbers that you specified. So if we had said, I want to do a for loop from I in 4 colon 13, it would have done only the spots 4 through 13. But we wanted to do every single spot, so we defined the for loop to go from 1 to 100. And then after, we simply display the t values that we collected from this for loop. So let's run it and see what happens. So what had happened is our for loop did as we asked, and it saved all the t values, and the t values are now displayed below. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Visit my website RGalleon.com for more R and statistics guidance. You can also visit my Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. Have a good one.